Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning back in. I got a really good question the other day from a subscriber asking about how to get fish that missed your topwater bait to come back and bite a second time. And I've got a couple of really good solutions for that. Before I get into it, I just want to remind you guys that if you're looking to buy some tackle, or some of the tackle I've got here is available at therealshot.com. The link is in my description. If you go there and you decide to purchase some tackle, use the discount code STEFAN10. It saves you 10% off your order, and it helps the channel out. So if you're looking to get some tackle, please go over to therealshot.com. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, guys. We're trying to grow the channel and get all this information out to other fishermen who want to learn as well. So share it on your social media pages. Hit the subscriber button if you haven't done so already. That gets you entered in my monthly prize drawing giveaways. So if you like the videos, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So today, guys, the question has to do with how do you get fish to come back and bite after they've missed your topwater? Well, I think a lot of us know that in some instances, those bites that you generated with the topwater were complete reaction strikes. And the fish may never come back again. It's almost like they realized after the fact what they did. And a lot of times I think they're testing the bait just to see if in fact it is real or not real, to see what happens to the bait afterwards. And I think that's one of those things that as an angler, we need to make sure that we adjust to on the water. Because if you're getting fish coming up and not truly biting your bait, they're coming up and they're rolling underneath it, or they're missing your bait by a decent amount, to me what that means is they're not willing to commit to your bait. They're testing it, or they're realizing at the last second that it's not a real bait or what they thought it was. So to me, that means you got to do one of two things. You need to switch baits, switch colors, or completely alter your approach. But a lot of those fish are really catchable too. If they come up and they just roll under the bait, they may not want that bait, but if you throw a follow-up bait in there, a lot of times you can get them to bite. So there's kind of two different strikes here, two different blowups. That's what I want to address. The first is those fish that aren't committing to your bait, but they're showing themselves. The second are fish that committed to your bait, but for whatever reason didn't hook up. Sometimes they tail slap it and the bait goes flying. Other times they hit it and you just don't connect with them. But the follow-up approach is pretty similar. I just want to add though that I will never really throw the same bait back in there after they've missed it unless I know they were fully committed to it. Meaning they hit it really good, or they came up and they hit it a couple of times. They were hot on the bait. They just didn't eat it for whatever reason, or didn't get hooked up. That's the only time that I will pick up a bait or throw the same bait back to them. If the initial cast does not work though, in my opinion, your percentage of getting that fish to bite a second time is better with a completely different bait. So if I'm on a good topwater bite, I've always got a follow-up bait or two that I'm going to utilize as a follow-up cast to a missed strike. So these are the 4 bites that I really like. Now I've got a couple of different things. If I'm fishing shallow water, then generally I'm going to go with one of 2 baits. And when I mean shallow water, I'm talking like 6 foot of water or less. In that case, I think it's really hard to beat a wacky rigged stick bait. In this case, this is a Max Scent General. This is probably the best all-around follow-up bait for a missed blow-up. It really, really works well in shallow water, but it's kind of one of those baits that's easy to have rigged up because you probably, if you're fishing shallow, have one rigged up anyways. So it's a really good bait just to pick up and throw back to that missed strike. Just let it fall. Don't put a weight in it, just let it fall weightless. This is your best follow-up bait. The second bait for relatively shallow water is to throw some sort of minnows, jerk bait, soft jerk bait. This is a jerk shad by Berkley, a power bait. Your flukes, any sort of soft jerk bait. Again, hook it weightless, throw it out, let it do its thing. In this case, this looks like a dying shad. So if you got a fish to hit your bait, this is a really good mimicking bait for a dying bait fish. So a lot of times I think the fish don't fully commit to the bait. They come up and they try to slap it or try to test it. And if you've got a follow-up bait that looks like a dying shad after that, that gives them the thought process that they have killed the bait or injured it. Now they go back and eat it. So those are the two baits I really like for shallow water to follow up missed blowups. If I'm fishing out deeper, where I've got more like the schooling fish that I'm chasing, I like to switch it up a little bit different. I've got two baits I like to throw. The first is a jerk bait. A jerk bait is a great bait to throw back if you're fishing areas where there's more of the schoolers, or you have fish that are chasing balls of shad, pushing them up to the surface. Because a lot of times those fish are coming out of a little bit deeper water, they chase them, they use the surface to pin the bait fish. So they come up, they bust, and they go right back down to a little bit deeper where they're going to suspend underneath those shad again. A jerk bait is a great bait to get back down a little bit further in the water. And it's such an erratic bait that it's going to get those fish's attention and come back and bite this. I love having a jerk bait rigged when I'm fishing anywhere throughout the summer months, but like down on the TVA lakes, if I'm ledge fishing and I see fish come up and bust on the surface, I'll throw this back in there real fast and get those fish to commit to a jerk bait better than I will pretty much any other bait. So it's a really good bait to follow up missed blowups with as well. The other choice is similar to that, but it's a small swim bait on a very light weighted head. This is a Berkley power swimmer with a Dirty Jigs Matt Steffen guppy head. It's an 1/8 ounce size. I like to throw this right back to where that missed strike was, engage my reel, but don't reel it in. I let the bait just pendulum down and let it fall at a really slow pace. That's why I like that 1/8 ounce head. Those fish will come back and commit to it and find that bait as it's falling. And it's similar to what I was saying before about the soft jerk bait. It gives the appearance that that fish has wounded the top water, and now the bait fish is slowly falling down and is injured, and it makes for an easy meal. A really good follow-up bait. So those are the 4 baits, guys, that I use to follow up missed blowups. Like I said before, if I had a missed strike on a topwater, I very rarely will throw the topwater back in there. I think my hookup percentage on that fish is going to be better if I give them a different presentation than the same topwater bait that they came up and missed. So give it a try, guys. I recommend throwing something different in next time you have a missed blowup, and I think you'll see that it works quite well in getting that fish to bite again. So thanks for watching.